Hey guys, it's Gabe from the Disciples here, and today we have our deck profile from what event, Cormac?
YCS LIMA.
So yeah, me and Cormac got top 32. I was third after Swiss, and you were 12?
Or 14th, I think.
14th? Oh, it was
I
14th?
finished X2, you finished X02.
Yeah, so I was 8 wins and 2 draws. Cormac was 8 wins and 2 losses, and then we both ended up getting unfortunate on top 32.
Yeah.
But I think our list is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hi, I'm here.
There's Gabe.
We just don't have a tripod, so I had to scramble this in the airport.
Yeah, it's a little bit scuffed. We're in the airport, we're waiting for our flight to start boarding in about probably 15-20 minutes.
So this might have to be a fast one.
Yeah, and if you know me, I'm not usually the best at doing fast tech profiles, but I'll do my best.
You talk a lot. Before I talk a lot.
Yeah,
Anyways.
we're both guilty. So we'll get into the profile.
So, yeah, we played Runick Naturia.
Runick Naturia, 40 cards, clean. Just wanted to play a very simple, clean deck that would be good into a very wide format.
Yeah, and
cards is just quite good for
it
that.
makes sense. I felt the same. I felt like my deck was very safe into people that didn't know what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and when you have so many things in the format, I think the main options were playing something like Cash, which is just kind of good generically. But we wanted to play something that was a little bit less targeted. So we thought this deck was pretty good because Runick cards are just crazy.
Yeah.
So we get into the list. Pretty standard stuff. 3 Camellia, 3 Cricket, 1 Sunflower for the monsters, and then for the rest of the Naturia engine, 3 Blessing, 3 Sacred Tree, and then one thing we wanted to add was 1 copy of Foolish Burial Goods. So Foolish Goods is nice in this deck because you can obviously send Sacred Tree to be able to get yourself as another starter to get into all your Naturia plays. Also is nice because in certain scenarios you can send an additional Runick spell to be able to get more draws off your fountains to be able to dig further into your deck. So the card is just really, really nice. Extra starters are always kind of appreciated in this deck. You could consider playing more than one of this, but dead drawing it is really, really bad, in terms of multiples. And your deck is drawing a lot because of Runicks, so we wanted to try and just, minimize on dead draws as much as possible. But the extra consistency card was very, very nice.
Yeah, it's also nice that when you draw it off your Runics, it's live because you can just dump 3 for Blessing.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have enough to make Baron or Net Beast, and you draw from the Runic spell you activate. And then that gets you the extra level 4 tuner you need for Net Beast.
Yeah, the extra flexibility to be able to get yourself a starter or get yourself the extender whenever you need it is just really, really nice.
Yeah.
There's sometimes it's sometimes slightly awkward because you do run through the 3 trees very quickly.
Yeah.
But most of the time it's perfectly fine. Just getting to play the game is the name of the game.
Exactly. I think the only matchup it's kind of awkward is Cash because it's kind of bad going second into Cash because of Arise Heart.
Yeah, but we sided out both sides, so it's good generically. If you draw out the one of going second to Cash game 1, it's unfortunate.
Yeah. I appreciate the extra consistency. It definitely helps.
Yeah, it was nice. So for the Runick spells, it's quite a lot. 3 Tip, 3 Flashing Fire, 3 Curses, 3 Destruction, 3 Slumber, 1 Smiting Storm, 1 Dispelling, 1 Open Droplet, and 2 copies of Fountain. So it's 18 quick play spells and 2 Fountain.
Yep.
We wanted to just maximize on Runicks as much as possible. These are the ways you get to play the game. These are the cards that are most broken. Even playing the worst cards all at once just to let you get into Hugin to be able to play to get to Fountain, and then these cards all have real effects.
Yeah.
Because once you have a Fountain established, it's really hard to lose the game because you just keep amassing card advantage every single turn.
I think also once you start playing, you want to draw into more Runic spells.
Yeah.
It also makes your Mo Cricket Mills better. There's a lot of benefits in playing multiple.
Yeah.
We had 19 with 2 Dispelling until we ended up on goods. It's kind of the last decision.
Yeah, because we started playing this deck with about 15 Runick spells, and we kept running into scenarios where we didn't draw 2 of them together, or we weren't drawing into them off of the Fountain after resolving a Fountain. And then you just want to keep having them after you draw them. I'll draw a Fountain so you can continue drawing a Fountain.
Yeah, it's not even just Fountain. There's also the charge draw or coral draws, which is pretty relevant.
Yeah.
So every additional Runic spell you play is an additional chance to get your Runic spell to resolve Fountain, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So we just wanted to play as much as possible.
Yeah.
So,
there are also all kind of real cards going second, because a very cool thing that you can do is you can just go Battle Phase and use all of them as a pop 1 with Gary.
Yeah.
So you can just use Runic spell, attack into something, Gary pop 1. One of the Cash guys summoned an Arise Heart and attack against me, and he learned his lesson. We're really happy with the ratios. I would like to play more, but you have to play 7 on engine. I think the biggest change that we played from this list to the list that the Pac played for the what YCS was that?
it was the Trigger Tree in Vegas.
Oh, the Vegas one. Is that list played more non-engine and less Runics, and we just kind of wanted to have more Runics.
Yeah, we found consistency issues when we played at the lower Runick count and more non-engine.
Yeah.
So we figured we'll just maximize on engine. A lot of these cards serve as non-engine in a way against certain matchups, like these two into Arise Heart Pass when Cash Tier goes for that are really good at cracking that, and then you can just play afterwards. Like we said, Gary, all this sort of stuff. So
Really happy with the decision. I think this is what made it that good.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, these cards were crazy.
Yeah.
Cool. And then for, like we said, for we can't play too much non-engine or extra ancillary cards. So we played one Kelbeck. We cut down on the extra Ishizus because the shufflers weren't really coming up too often as like interactions. To be honest, they were coming up more as being ways to recycle the Naturias because you were running through them very quickly, but they weren't too needed. Then we ended up playing 2 Nib and 3 Talents. We were going back and forth on which one of these we wanted to play 3 and 2 of. I think in the end, Gabe was saying that he was a little bit underwhelmed by Talents. It was okay for me.
It wasn't great for me.
Yeah.
Like maybe I think I might have overestimated how good it would be going second. It was good into cash. Against some decks like Sprite was a bit iffy. I felt like if I had like a more impact on an engine card, maybe it would have been better. But it wasn't bad. Like there's some games that I just insta won because I had like a mad hand that would lose to a hand trap, but I had the talents, so I just played the main one, got hand trapped. Talents, like drew into more. Being able to draw into more cards is very nice for this deck because they usually chain together advantage. Like you draw more cards and those cards generate even more cards.
Yeah, exactly. Like you actually use the draw effect of this a lot more often than I feel like you normally do with Talents.
Yeah.
Because like your deck is just so filled with cards that you want to draw into.
Exactly. The card quality you draw is very, very high.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I found it quite strong. And yeah, this is all like pretty good. I think we also expected a few more maybe sort of hand trap type decks. We were seeing more things like Mathmech become more popular the last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
we thought this would be really good.
Oh yeah, that's also true.
We didn't end up running into too many of those on our end, but this was sort of the theory behind that. Nib was just good generically across the board. I was unfortunate to draw both of these. Game 1 of my top 32 and my opponent made a Rise Pass and 4 summons.
Yeah,
but it is what it
I
is.
bet the theory is like if they Rise Pass, your deck is good into a Rise Pass.
Yeah.
Because like you have a lot of ways to beat it. It kind of becomes a problem if they Rise Pass and they have lands. But sometimes you can kind of beat that. So Nib kind of covered for the other case against Cash, which is them going wide, because that's a bigger problem.
Yeah, exactly.
One thing a bit on the Kelbeck Modora things, I started playing this deck with 4 of them, and I think definitely improved after cutting. Guido, discarding a Guido, discarding Kelbeck is definitely good, but the problem is that if you draw multiples of them, they're dead, because you can only kind of discard once per turn. And Modora and Kaldor just being kind of mad draws. So, and Kelbeck is a real hand trap. Like, Kelbeck is very good into Daspi, very good into Swords, so one me game against Trap Tricks going second, because like he ashed something and I summon Kelbeck to bounce the Sarah. So yeah, definitely happy with the main.
Yeah, this is definitely the most versatile one, and I was happy with pretty much the entire main.
Yeah.
Like I said, clean 40 cards. We initially started with the 43 card list that I think the others had. You need to play like 40 with like 18 Runicks to have consistency in this deck, in my opinion.
The only thing we tried at some point like 43 with like 21 Runick spells.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
There was a moment of madness.
Yeah, but it was just like, get down to 40 seconds, you're not an engine.
Yeah, and there's like different good cards like seeing Camellia, seeing Cricket, seeing Tip.
Yeah. Like drawing a combination of like Naturia cards, like a Naturia card and then 2 Runicks.
Yeah.
Or any, and like that, once you're there, you're golden. If you have any more, it's just like insane.
Exactly.
So, yeah, so for extra deck, 2 Hugin, 2 Jerry, and 1 Moonin.
Yep.
So this is our time card, of course. It also kind of just comes up as an additional like fusion sometimes to summon. And then 2 Jerry, because it being level 4 can be quite relevant. You also make like rank 4s. Like we said, with all the Runicks, you're able to like just first action, you enter battle phase, and just summon this with any of the Runick spells and help just deal with the threat like a Barone or an Orias Heart, this sort of stuff. Obviously, Hugin for obvious reasons.
Yeah. Muni was considerably better than Scarlight. I had Scarlight for forever, but I won like 2 games in time that I wouldn't have won a Scarlight. Like one game I got like Masqueraded, and like the only way that I could win was Muni because I didn't have the resources to make Scarlight after. Also, being a fifth fusion that I could summon came up again because I was out 4 fusions and I summoned it, and I used like it, a Mo Cricket, a Camellia, and a Sunflower to make a Baron. It was the most expensive Baron of all time, but hey, we got there.
It worked.
Yeah.
So it was nice. And also into things like the Cosmic has become a bit more popular. So things like that in Fountain, you can obviously like. You were saying this is a thing that you can like sometimes chain.
Yeah, exactly. That's cool. So
Yeah. For Synchros, the 2 Naturias, these are pretty standard.
Net Beast is a fucked card. That's what I learned this weekend.
It's crazy. This card's nuts.
The best feeling is when like you have Net Beast and they start activating spells.
You're just like.
I like how they do that before scooping, you know? Like they go spell, you negate, spell, you negate, spell, you negate. They're like, oh yeah.
Like, oh yeah, you can just do this more than once per turn. It's like, yes, this card was printed before.
Yeah. Also, like
2017.
these cards are very good in this deck because like Kamita can revive them and Blasting revives them.
Yeah.
So once you summon them, like they keep coming up.
Exactly.
I didn't do Barkin much because I only played one Trap Tricks, and the main matchup is summon Barkin in this Labyrinth. But Beast was broken.
Nuts. Yeah. There were like times where like I would also use this as like my third like level 6 synchro, but I
Yeah.
got the other two to help like go into level 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, like these cards are just kind of crazy.
The one game I summoned Barkin was actually kind of important because I made Barkin to make Baron, and then at some point later in the game I blasting the Barkin back and normal the Kamita to make Shanging and attack for game with it.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. These cards are just like
The versatility of being able to summon back of blasting is very nice.
yeah, it's crazy. And then for like the next like set of synchros, the other level 6s, Coral and Stardust Charge, they both come up in different scenarios. You usually go for this most of the time because you want to use the second Runick spell to go into Gary to be able to make Barone. This card's just. I use this card actually to help like clear boards as well, like a couple of times as well, which is quite nice. Like you like nib them, for example, then clear the big token.
Yeah, you can also just like pitch tree for this.
Oh yeah, I pitched tree like a bunch of times.
It's kind of
as well.
cool. Pitch tree, pitch Gal back. This comes up.
Yeah. It's very nice. And then Stardust Charge.
Yeah, charge is more limited, but like it's important sometimes when you have like only one Runick spell.
Yeah, one Runick spell and you have like the extra blessing to go into like Barone, so like you need the non-tuner level 6. And then speaking of the level 10s, Barone and Chengyi. Before this event, I remember us both saying that we were never summoning this card. I think we both summoned it like I don't know how many times this event.
I genuinely never summoned it in testing. But you needed to play 2 10s because sometimes Cash would take your only Barons. I'm like, okay, I'll play Shangyi.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah, this
I
card
don't know
was
how it
nuts.
ended up.
Yeah.
But I just kept summoning it. I just beat over a guy for like 8k with this. It was, psh. He's like, wait, you have a battle phase this turn?
That's it, yeah. Like you just kind of sit on this and then you end up like banishing all their stuff, they're on nothing, and then one turn like you just don't need to use Runics, they just pass because they're on nothing. You switch this to attack and it's like 7k. It's like,
Okay, cool. And Baron is very, very good at that.
Yeah, this card's crazy.
It's very cool because sometimes what happens is, is that you draw, you draw 3 out of your Runic spell.
Yeah.
And then you make Baron, then you set your tree and you pop it with the Baron to get the blessing, and then you blasting some of the Chameleon and make the beast.
Yeah.
So that interaction is super cool.
Yeah. These cards are just both crazy. And then we also played something else to help us like kind of recycle this to an extent.
Oh yeah,
See that in a second.
it comes up.
So for the XCs, we played Exoton, Jugaris, and Baguska. So we initially weren't playing Jugaris, but it came up a lot where we would end on like Barone turn 1, and then when you have Barone set up and then you have Nib in hand, you want to be able to like Nib and then like afterwards be able to bring back the Barone. So you just make Jugaris to revive it.
Yeah, I summoned the Garza this amount of times. I started without it, but after playing a bit, it helped a lot. Like there's some hands that I just needed to get Runic Engine. Like making one interrupt wouldn't be good, but if I got your Runic Engine on that turn, I kind of insta won because I had like Fountain setup or stuff like that. So instead of trying to go for a synchro, I just went like Dugaris deep, and Dugaris revive Baron after you nib is like generally a real thing.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I didn't get you excited people much. Against Cash, like he kind of saw I was going for excited and played around it. However, Baguska, Despia just can't beat this deck. It's so funny because you just like summon to level 4s and you just make Baguska, and Despia's like, oh no, what will I do?
Yeah, they just have no win condition into it. Like it's crazy. Like you can just like sit on this against Despia and they're like not gonna be able to win, like play at all, and then you just amass so many cards and off the Runic spell and it's just over.
Yeah.
So like all 3 of these cards were like we didn't summon like this too much. But like I think all 3 of them like had their place. So
you have to pick it. Like it comes up. Like I played a lot of games against Cash and testing it came up.
Yeah.
It just didn't come up in this tournament.
Yeah, exactly. Then the last card is one Donner. This card is just generically quite good, being able to like clear your EMZ with any cards. There'd be times coming up where like you would like Talons take something, and then the way to remove it is like link it off for Donner.
Ibli as well.
Yeah, Ibli
is
as well.
a big one. You need to play at least one link for Ibli.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it came up for a couple of scenarios. There were times actually where a second would have been nice, but like you're never like really gonna need it too much.
Yeah, maybe I should a second link monster. I don't know what you cut realistically.
Yeah.
It's side muning if you have side space.
Potentially, yeah. But yeah, pretty much it. Yeah. But I think the extra deck was like pretty well decided. I think Jugaris was the last one we considered.
Yeah.
We put in.
Worked out well.
Yeah. And for side deck, side deck we put 3 Ash, 3 Dogwood, we'll get onto this in a second, 3 Kurikara, 1 Duster, 3 Evenly. I want to save these 2 for a minute because I want to go over it in a second. So like Ash was just a generic thing we wanted like for Despia, Labyrinth, a bunch of those, like kind of like random decks. Initially I wasn't really super happy about siding this into Despia because they're obviously playing so many cards to beat Ash. But it just the fact that like it covered so many other matchups like well enough. Like against Labyrinth, the name of the game is just not get EEV'd and you win the game. So just being able to stop the welcome and the big welcome is just really important. I don't think either of us ever used this card.
I've played Dogwood for 2 major tournaments. So it was Pasadena, which I played like 14 mirrors.
Yeah.
And this tournament, I played the lowest deck in the game.
Yeah.
And I've not resolved Dogwood once.
Yeah. This is a last minute thing because we couldn't think of something to put in at the end.
So basically, like we did siding patterns, have 12 spots, and I'm like, neither of us have played this deck in a tournament before. I'm like, okay, everyone else playing Dogwood. Maybe it's a correct thing to play.
Yeah.
Shouldn't.
No,
My games never take that long. Even when they do, it's usually because game 3 grinds, and I don't want to side this card with like 20 minutes left.
Yeah, exactly.
So definitely should have been something else. Maybe something for Sprite. I think our Sprite side was kind of bad. That's what I lost you.
Yeah. I think we were considering after the event we're talking about it. Maybe something like Dark Ruler or Dark Hole would have been quite good.
Yeah, we thought about like Draw for Dark Road as well.
Also that, yeah.
But yeah. I think it's like it's not correct. We kind of just waffled into it like last minute.
Yeah. Kurikara, this kind of on the similar vein to what we were talking about with Kashtira, where a lot of them are going Arise Hard Pass. This card's just really good into that. And even if they go wide and they try to lock 5 zones, like first off, we're already playing Nib, the main deck, but if they then try to lock 5 spell trap zones because we're playing Runick, which I think is probably the most reliable way to have of actually beating you, to be honest.
Yep.
All like you could side in Kurikara and then all of like your monsters immediately trigger a Rise Heart.
Yeah.
So then you're able to just like, and then they're going to use a Shangri-La in the standout phase, so you're able to just like clear a whole bunch of their board by doing this.
Yeah. Also, Kurikara has good overlap for the mirror match. The mirror match is very hard to clear Nat Beast, weirdly enough.
Yeah, who would have thought? And like you just activate a spell, they're like, okay, why you like we were saying earlier, people were just activating spell cards and we were negating, and they're like, but for us, we activate a spell card, and they're like, why is he not scooping? Why is he activating a spell card? Negate with Nat Beast, and then you just drop this.
Yeah, and then like on the end phases, someone's their Nat Beast back.
Yeah, someone their Nat Beast back. It could be someone like a Barone, probably their Nat Beast most of the time, but like any of this sort of stuff, right?
So
like,
yeah,
it's just crazy.
it's generally pretty cool.
Yeah.
I didn't draw it a single time. It was a shame, but it was very good in testing.
Yeah, exactly. This card was just very, very nice. I same here. I didn't get to do it too much in the event, but I was really happy about this slot. This was our back removal side. I was mostly happy with it.
Yeah, even though it was generic enough, it covered Trap Tricks, Labyrinth, and we did it for Cash as well. Because I think from this deck's perspective, it's also good into Cash because it clears like extra bursts, and it makes their board easier to clean. Because when they make the board like very wide, it's an actual problem. Because you need to like start clearing like Shangri-Las, which are hard to remove, and they have like 4 monsters. And if you don't clear those monsters, they generate advantage. So I like Demonly, it's pretty good.
Yeah, like the two biggest lose cons against Kashtira are either when they're locking 5 spell trap zones and you don't have a way to beat that, or when they just sit on a bunch of bodies with a Birth up, because Birth is arguably more of an issue to deal with than a Rise Heart, like in this deck, because of all the Runick's cards going into carry. So like this being able to like get rid of the Birth, I think is like really, really important. And then Duster, like you don't set it in for Kashtira, but you just set it in for like, you know, generically a bunch of acrobatics.
Because you also just draw so much, it's kind of cool, because you have like multiple ways of reaching the Duster blowout.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So it was nice.
So
last card we sided, this card's a little bit fun. 2 copies of Grave of the Super Ancient Organism. So we figured that Despia was probably one of our hardest matchups to play against going second because they can lock you with the Expulsion play.
Yeah, especially post side. I think game 1 you can kind of break that pretty reliably.
Yeah, you can.
But post side it's hard. Like cards like Evenly weren't really working because everyone is doing Expulsion for Puppet or Disciple.
Yeah.
And what we realized is the best way to beat the whole thing is just setting Grave.
Yeah.
You can just let them do whatever and just like, okay, set Grave.
Exactly.
And it kind of works as a floodgate going first into Cash as well. Another cool thing is that this lock's level 6 or higher.
True.
And Nat Beast is level 5.
Yes.
So you can just go Grave Nat Beast, now what?
Yeah, and the decks can't really play into that at all for the most part.
Yeah, we had 3. What we realized is that we didn't need it going first, so the only matchup that I really wanted 3 was for Despia going second. So we kind of ended up waffling it for a Dogwood. I wish I played 3 probably, because I think the Dogwood spots were kind of a waste.
Yeah, I think
as usual.
You could cut these, play a third one of this, and then like 2 copies of something else that could works for multiple decks, but particularly Sprite.
Yeah, so some more respect. I mean, it's a very hard format to prepare for because I have to account for like 20 different decks.
Yeah.
When we're doing siding patterns, my notebook has like literally 15 decks written. I have a Phantom Knight siding pattern in my head, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So I think like maybe we overlooked Sprite a bit.
Yeah, probably a little bit, but it was difficult because we were trying to like have a side deck and a main deck that overlapped so many things. And like this is probably the most targeted thing to an extent, but even then it was for the two biggest decks in the room.
Everything else is very, very generic.
Exactly, yeah. And I think that was probably the best call for this format at the moment because, like you were saying, there's like 10, 15 decks that people could end up playing. I think I looked at like my matchup spread. I played against, I think, 3 Kashtira, 2 Despia, and then everything else is just a singleton, like a Sprite, a Mirror Match, Plunder, Runick, Labyrinth, Trap Tricks, like a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah.
So like, when you're going into an event like this where there's so many different decks, I think you just need to have a deck that's just generically good into the field. And then, like, even your side deck, for the most part, I think you can have things that are maybe a little bit more targeted towards like maybe the top 2 or 3 decks, but you still need things that are going to work in as wide as possible. So.
That's fair. Yeah. So, any shoutouts?
Yeah, of course. So, first off, myself and Gabe, we worked hard in the sec, but also want to shout out some of the other people. Like, Pac was obviously the first one to play it.
Vince,
Vegas, Vince did a lot of like theory with Gabe in particular.
Thanks for the Italians. We appreciate the help.
Yeah, the Italians did a lot of help with us. A lot of the guys that we have stayed with and hung around with over the week. So, Tiago, Jesse, Jack, Robin.
Big shout outs for Shaq and Robin for undisclosed reasons.
Yeah, undisclosed reasons. We'll have a podcast coming out later this week.
True.
We'll go over some of the reasons why then.
Yes.
Yeah. And maybe some of them we won't go into.
To
save ourselves.
Some face. But yeah, genuinely, like, it's such a good week in Peru. We've done so much. It feels crazy because we're recording this on the Sunday night. We're here since Saturday night, like basically a week here. Yeah. We're gonna go over the podcast. It was a sick trip. I wasn't even expecting much of the YCS. In fact, we both topped the same list.
Yeah.
And with good records, it really makes me happy because it's a good ending for a nice trip.
Yeah, no, it was really, really good. Yeah, I walked in with very little expectations because we didn't really prep at all the last week, but it worked out pretty well. Last sort of shoutouts Brotherhood, Card Market, Gamers Apparel,
Metamats. My man, just remember the sponsors. It's crazy.
Hey man, I haven't done too many profiles in the last couple of months, so I have to work on that. But yeah, so shout out to all the sponsors and all that. So so hope you enjoyed this profile. Like the video, subscribe, check out the podcast later this week. Trust me, it'll be a good one. And see you soon.
See you guys next time.